This is the BMW iX, an electric SUV. On the one hand, it's cutting edge modern, and on the other hand, it's like a trip back in time to the 1980s. What am I talking about? Keep on watching. Due to the chip shortage, the iX launch here in Poland was postponed from late October, when it was still beautiful and sunny, to late November, which is already quite gloomy. Having the above in mind, I hope you'll forgive me for using a lot of stock footage in this video. The weather today is dreary, the day is short, and I still have to drive more than its range. So it's going to be fun. To a certain extent, driving an EV in Poland today is like driving any car back in the 1980s. The fuel was rationed, so either you knew a guy at the petrol pump or you walked with a jerry can in search of good people and fuel. Everything got better as soon as you crossed the border into Western Europe.
In the BMW stock footage, you'll see the car has slightly different exterior finish. There are no blue accents on the sides and in the front. The bumper is slightly different, the rear light housing is white instead of red. All this is part of a sports package which my test car doesn't have. Without a point of reference, the iX doesn't look much bigger than a compact SUV. However, its real external dimensions are similar to the X5 and the X6. And the passenger space inside is like in the X7. Electric door handles seem to be a thing on many new cars, especially EVs. Car makers claim it's because of aerodynamics. At least BMW has indents that you can grab, and you don't have to push to extend the part you want to pull on. Also, the front is all about aerodynamics. I'm no longer taken aback by the beaver teeth. The only car with characterless front fascia is Tesla, and that lazy design is now taken, so car makers with heritage going back to times before the dot-com bubble need to make their cars stand out in other ways.
Speaking of standing out, BMW decided to go with what they call shy tech. Ooh, we don't want to overwhelm our clients with tech, so we'll just keep it out of sight. Like this radar here, behind the fake grille. Also, there is no point looking under the bonnet. BMW says there's nothing to see there. And there is also no storage like you would get on the Hyundai, Kia, Tesla. Even the BMW i3 had cable storage under the bonnet. So how do you add the washer fluid? You just press the BMW logo and simply clever.
And if you do want to look under the bonnet, you pull two cables in both footwells and voila. BMW doesn't see the point, so there's not even a prop rod, so I have to use my own tools. Cable storage is under the boot floor. You get a total of 500 liters in 5-seat configuration. Fold the rear seats, and this goes up to 1750 liters. There is some elastic tape to hold small stuff, one shopping bag hook, buttons to fold the rear seats. There is no separate button to lock the car as you leave, although you can program the car to open as you approach and lock as you walk away. The rear backrest splits 40-20-40. To fold the seats from the passenger side, there are buttons on the sills.
The rear space is really like in a big SUV, and finally, besides the Polish designer Adam Bazydło thought about space for feet for the middle passenger. Adam Bazydło gave the Peugeot 508 passengers a couple of inches. BMW went all the way, and you can slide your feet under the console almost up to your knees. I like that.
Beside the electronically operated external door handles, there are also buttons to release the doors from the inside. I get it, it's because of that system which won't allow you to open the doors in front of a moving vehicle. However, the way the button is placed is, in my opinion, not very ergonomic. If you are concerned about emergency situations, there is a physical lever on the inside, and from the outside, apparently emergency services should have an app with manuals for the cars. If I were you, I'd just slow down.
One of the options on this test car is the loft stone grey interior finish. To me it looks a bit bluish, kind of like in the 1980s cars. Back then, blue interiors were the thing. By the way, BMW is all about sustainability and zero emissions, so a lot of what you can see and touch in the BMW iX is actually recycled material, especially this upholstery. And BMW can talk all it wants about shy tech, but it's a bit like that adult film actress dressed up as a librarian. We can all see that shirt is going to burst open in a minute.
It's similar with the BMW iX interior. Debuting in the iX is the BMW OS8 and the new generation of iDrive interface. The display is curved towards the driver, and there are new graphics and new data presentation. I only just got used to the OS7 and here we go again. This time at least I have my profile set up and stored in the cloud, and that's good. But there are so many settings that I will have to spend more time with the new system to get everything customized to my liking.
I can't say if I like the new system or not. In a couple of months I will get the iX for longer and then I'll report back to you. For now I'm trying to get used to this wooden panel with transparent iDrive. I like that the icons have tactile outlines, but what was wrong with clearly placed buttons?
For the time being, I feel guilty because I once complained the BMW i8 interior was too normal. I'm afraid BMW listened to jerks like me, and now I should apologize to everyone who has to deal with the new BMW OS. There are good cup holders, decent storage under the armrest, deep door pockets, but the glove box is tiny. The basic seat adjustment buttons are now on the doors, like in a Mercedes. They're all crystal-like. The remaining seat adjustment functions are on the screen. Better use the iDrive controller for them. But did BMW really have to put the seat heating and heated steering wheel controls on the touchscreen?
An interesting quirk is that the steering wheel isn't actually a wheel. So can we still call it a steering? Well, anyway, that thing, thanks to its shape, your hands don't obstruct data on the screen, and the graphics are also adapted to the steering thing, which isn't a wheel. So it actually makes sense.
This is the xDrive40 version, which means 326 horsepower, 630 Nm of torque, and almost 2.5 tons in mass, and 2.5 tons towing capacity. 0 to 100 km per hour is dealt with in 6.1 seconds, and the top speed is electronically governed at 200 km per hour. I checked the acceleration, and on a slightly damp tarmac I got 6.4 seconds. The 71 kWh battery, that's net, can be charged from an 11 kW wall box or 150 kW DC fast charger. We're talking charging overnight or 31 minutes from 10 to 80% state of charge, in optimum conditions of course.
You'll spend at least an hour on a 50 kilowatt charger. By the way, charging above 80% state of charge takes ages. The onboard computer estimated 30 to 100% charge at 90 minutes.
There is also the 523 horsepower xDrive40 model, which does 0 to 100 km per hour in 4.6 seconds, and it has a 105 kWh battery. It can charge up to 195 kilowatts, if you make it to a powerful enough charger, because around where I live, these are rarer than those iXs. BMW also teases the M60 model, and that's before we get to the full-on M sometime later in the future.
The xDrive40 has a claimed range of between 550 and 630 kilometers. The xDrive40, which I'm driving today, has a claimed range of between 372 and 425 kilometers. Spoiler alert, it won't get that far. I'm driving on a track which is about 200 kilometers from where I live. It's cold and raining. Upon arrival, I had 60 kilometers range left with average energy consumption of almost 30 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. This is not entirely the car maker's fault. They have to achieve climate goals imposed by politicians. It's time for politicians to start doing something about the charging infrastructure. The place where I am today is almost like a desert when it comes to fast charging. The closest 40 kilowatt charger will have to be sufficient to reach a 100 kilowatt charger some 250 kilometers away, which may or may not work.
So, before you decide to go all electric, make sure you have a way to charge your car, especially if you plan to drive somewhere further. In Poland, it's like in the 1980s, make it to the border and you're golden. Planning routes with charging in mind is easier thanks to the onboard sat-nav, but a double check with PlugShare or a better route planner. Also, if you're using Android Auto, you don't get charging planning. Apparently BMW and other car makers are working with Google to integrate route planning for EVs. SatNav also has augmented reality function like in the Mercedes. It makes navigating around unknown cities easier.
How's the BMW iX to drive? Well, it's a BMW. It's quick and nimble, much more than you'd expect from a 2.5-ton SUV. Only tighter parking maneuvers give away this car's real size. And if you try real hard, you may just get the back end out a bit, especially in sport mode, when the traction control allows you to have a bit more fun. Of course, drive like this and your range will fall drastically. There's this special range view display showing how much further or how much closer you'll get depending on your current driving style. The iX is also very well soundproofed. It's partly thanks to great aerodynamics and partly to acoustic glass. The suspension is stiff enough to make handling fun, but soft enough to make this a comfortable cruiser, even if you're not going to cruise very far.
But be careful, 2.5 tons on slippery surface can be a handful. On wet leaves, the computer doesn't know whether it should continue with regenerative braking or is it time to engage normal brakes.
Under the bonnet, metaphorically speaking of course, of that car, there is a lot of shy tech. There are no rare earth materials in the motors. The batteries are optimized in terms of density and the modules are easy to replace. But you don't see it. These features are supposed to draw environmentally conscious buyers towards BMW. And do they? Let me know in the comment section below. And now someone get me out of this thing. Bloody hell. How do you help?
If you like my sarcastic, down-to-earth and possibly mildly amusing car reviews, join me every Friday at 3 p.m. Central European Time, and don't forget to subscribe and like this video as it helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.